All right, here's the current bane of my existence, and it's my, well, a friend's ST-150 DYNACO amplifier. It turned out I was trying to set the bias using the page 21 procedure here, which means you hook up the positive terminal of your multimeter in milliamp mode, and the bottom side of the fuse on the B plus side to the bottom side of the fuse assembly to the negative terminal on your multimeter, and then you set it to milliamps, and basically plug her in. I've got it all off right now, but you plug it in, turn the power on, and I've got the caps drained. I've got my little cap draining capacitor discharge tool there, which dials into my multimeter, and I've got the caps completely discharged. So I can put my hands in here now. And what's happening is you can actually see this little conflagration right here, which is two resistors in series. One is a 220 ohm, the other is a 47 ohm resistor, because I blew the original one, which I can't quite find right now. It's somewhere in this mess. That's probably half the problem right there, is the mess. I'm usually pretty good at keeping everything tiddly, but this thing has got me flummoxed. Anyway, suffices to say, when I power up the amplifier, that fuse starts, and you can actually see where it's charred on that one side. That fuse just starts smoking and smoldering. So when I was having the issues of trying to figure out how to use my stupid multimeter here, the first time I ran the amplifier, it was running fine, and then of course I was not getting the bias settings, and that was because I had it on voltage versus the milliamp mode here, and so I was adjusting things and nothing happened. So then I thought maybe some transistors, so I pulled Q5 and I pulled Q6, which I believe is there, and measured them on my little device here. It's this little Chinese device, and then of course I do it's like two diodes basically, and I use the multimeter as well, but both will actually tell me whether the transistor is good or not. So that transistor is good, and I put it back in the original orientation, and then that transistor, which is under this heatsink now, which I've reassembled, that one is, it's a little bit mangled, but yeah, it actually measured up good. So I put it back in, and maybe I don't have it in there seated, or I don't know what it is. Anyway, so I burnt the first 270 ohm resistor, and then this pair of resistors, which measures 270 ohms. As soon as I power it on, in about 10 seconds or 5 seconds, it just starts smoldering. So there is definitely something wrong. I think when I turned it on, it was reading high. It was around 300 milliamps or something like that. So I'm definitely, I think, getting some high current going through there. But again, I got to look at the schematic and figure out where R116 is in the scheme of things. So you can actually see R116 there. Before I cooked it, the right side was 264.4 ohms, which you can see over here. And that's no more. And now this little Bakshi resistor there is no more. So there's no point in doing it again, because there's obviously something faulty with the circuit, and I'm just trying to figure out where to start, and whether it be, I don't want to pull those transistors again. I'm pretty sure they're oriented properly, but I might have to replace them if they're bad, and that's the trouble, is I got to wait a whole long time to get replacements, I think. So, stuck in nowhere land. I guess the next thing I'll do is I'll pull all the fuses here, power the thing up, and I did measure all the voltages coming off the transformer, and which are those voltages on those holes, and everything measured up fine before I started all this, but maybe I'll have to do that again and get the output voltages on the secondary of the transformer and just see maybe something went screwy there. And that's why I'm getting the high current on the oriented backwards, but on the right channel, which is on this side, which is the side that's getting cooked. This channel, I was able to dial in the bias now that I figured out the multimeter properly, and I've got that tapped into the 120 milliamps initially, and then I was shifting over to the other side, and that's when it cooked. So I didn't get to the point where it was waiting 10 minutes and then doing the DC bias, or sorry, DC offset settings off the back leads here. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. If anybody has any good advice as to where I should start for tracing down why this thing is cooking, would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.